Hi guys, so I thought I'd do another video for you today that is one where I actually talk you through my process of what I'm doing. I'm going to do another watercolour galaxy, but instead of doing it in hyperlapse all the way through, I thought I'd talk you through a little bit more about what my thought processes are and how I go about doing one of those watercolour galaxies. So this watercolour paper is 300 GSM, it's nice and thick for watercolour. I really like using this. The brushes I'm going to be using today, I tend to kind of keep my brushes to a minimum when I'm doing galaxies. These are my three main ones. I've got a number 7, which is worn off a little bit because I use it so much, which is a Winsor & Newton Cotton. I've got a number 4 Da Vinci and a 000 Winsor & Newton as well, which is a sable brush for doing the stars with. So the paints I'm going to be using are here. I tend to stick to sort of very similar sort of colours and shades. I've got an indigo, a Payne's grey. I never use black in my work. I always use a really sort of deep mix of Payne's grey and indigo if I'm going to use darker colours. That's just personal preference. Use black if you want to. I'm going to be using this Winsor Violet, some Cobalt Turquoise, some Phthalo Turquoise, which is my favourite colour, and Ultramarine, and just for fun I'm going to use maybe a bit of Davies Grey just because it's new and I haven't used it yet, so it seems like a nice opportunity. So that's the colours I'm going to be using. For the stars then afterwards, I tend to go with an ink. I do use gouache sometimes, but I really like this ink. It seems to be really bright and vibrant when I'm putting the stars on afterwards, and I really like that. You could also use a gouache, and that is pretty much just as good. It's just a personal preference thing, I think. You could, if you wanted to get a bit fancy, you could use some metallic, whatever you've got to hand really. But that's what I'm going to be using today. And then because I've done a bit of a sketch already to plan it out, I'm also going to be doing some outlining afterwards with my 0.3 uni pen fine liner. I think these are relatively newly released. I only discovered them earlier this year anyway. They may have been around longer than that. These are definitely my favourite sort of pigment ink liner because I just find them really black, and that's what I want in my work, is I want that really black colour, which I found that I haven't got so much from some other fine liners, so I would definitely recommend these ones, but there are a big range out there, so use what you have to hand. One thing I would say is try and get one that is water and fade proof, so that if you do want to hang your work on the wall, then you're not going to find that after a year or so it's faded and is a bit grey looking, or even brown, as I've found in some previous cases of work that I've hung up on my own walls at home. So that's my materials covered, so let's get started with the painting. So as I said, I've done a little sketch already. So I have just thrown my brush on the floor, and I've done this little sketch just of an archway, and I'm going to put the galaxy inside the archway, and then I'm going to draw in the roses afterwards that I've drawn with my handy fine liner afterwards. So we will go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go straight in with my number 4 brush. This one is, I do like this Da Vinci one because it's so pointed, so I can really get into these bits here and get those details. So this is all dry now, so I'm going to go in with my Winsor & Newton white ink and I'm going to add some stars. So same as with galaxies, when you're painting galaxies, there's a lot of different methods that you can use to paint them. I've just literally shown you one method and it's my sort of favourite method today. And it's the same thing for adding stars. So a lot of methods that I've seen is where people will use the sort of tapping method, where you've got your paintbrush like this and you've got another paintbrush there and you just sort of tap them together, and that gives a really nice sort of scattered view of stars all over it. The way that I tend to do it is I actually add all of my stars individually, because I like to make them have pretty patterns and I like them to sort of follow the flow of the paint. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. So we're going to go in, and to add a star, all you're going to do is you're going to just pick a point where you want it to go and then sort of add a blob in the middle like that, and then just sort of pull it out and then pull it out again to the bottom, then out to the side, out to the other side, and then just some little lines from the middle there like that, and that gives a sort of nice one form of star. So you could also do another one that I think is quite pretty, is where actually you've got the sort of the longer lines on the diagonal, like this. So again, it's exactly the same method where you're sort of pulling it out from the middle, like that. And then the shorter ones are around it, like that. And then the other one that I think is nice is where you've sort of got quite an obvious circle and then little lines coming out from it. There. Just going to make these top and bottom ones a little bit more obvious. So there. And then of course you've got that kind where you're just adding some small circles. So this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to follow the flow and the shapes of the paint as I go around my painting, and just let the paint that I've already laid down be my guide. So I'm going to speed it up again now, and you can see how it all will come together in the end. So I think I'm about done with adding in all of the stars now. So I've got my fine liner here, and I've already sort of done my sketch out of what I want to do. So I'm going to go in and just ink all of this in to finish it off. I'm not really covering today on how to draw flowers in this video, but if that's something that you'd like to see, then let me know in the comments or shoot me a DM, and I can definitely come up with a video about how to draw botanicals if that's something that people would be interested in. Got it. So I've just finished the outlining now. I'm going to rub it out in a second so that you can see the final thing. You can see that the contrast, I really like the contrast between this like plain black and white drawing and the mixture of colours in the middle for the galaxy. It's really easy to do, and honestly anyone can do it. I paint these all the time with my children. They love doing them. They're great fun, so I'd really encourage you to just get the paints out and have a go, and you'll be surprised at how beautiful a thing you can create. So have fun. If you do decide to try it, then let me know and tag me on Instagram. You can find me there as CW_illustrations, and I would love to see what you create. So thanks for watching, and hopefully it was helpful. If you'd like me to create any other videos, or you have any questions, then let me know in the comments below.